Hello, my name's Bob Harmon. I am the CEO and founder of Personalized Stem Cells, Inc. Today, we're going to talk about health, but not just any health. We're going to talk about your health. Arthritis is a massive epidemic in the U.S. today. 54 million Americans are stricken with arthritis. It's a $300 billion annual cost to the healthcare system, and it's the number one cause of disability in the U.S. But maybe more personally, people with osteoarthritis have a 50% higher death rate. As you might guess, that's from not moving, too much pain, gaining weight, diabetes, heart disease. PSC has a very unique solution. Your stem cells, not somebody else's stem cells, but yours. Your doctor can harvest these cells. It's a simple procedure for a plastic surgeon, a little small harvest. PSC then multiplies your cells in our FDA compliant manufacturing facility here in Southern California. And then you have what we call Stem Ensure. It's your personal cell bank, your stem cells for life. Stem cells equals FDA development. In spite of what you might see on the billboards and these illegal companies or offshore medical tourism, commercialization of stem cells is by the standard FDA pathway. But patients banking their own stem cells today can access them via this new federal right to try law. Not for everything, but for serious conditions where you need access before FDA approval. And we as a company can provide cell banking business that does not require FDA approval for storage of cells and processing, and we can create early revenue. So let's back up for a minute. What are stem cells' practical functions for you as a patient? Number one, and maybe most importantly, is tissue regeneration. These cells help regenerate tissue such as cartilage, heart tissue, etc. But maybe equally as important, these cells provide blockade of pain and reduction in inflammation. Here's an example. This is a peer-reviewed scientific publication by a group out of South Korea looking at cartilage regeneration in knees. If you've been told by your doc you have bone on bone, meaning there's lack of cartilage in your knee, this is what it looks like. That brown is just bone. With a single injection, looking at what the knee looked like 1 year later, after a single injection, that is new cartilage. That is real. That can really happen. But let me back up to the history a little bit. We have veterinary data from 22 years in the veterinary stem cell business. This is real clinical cases, horses, dogs, cats, that have real clinical conditions that we treated. Veterinary use often leads the way to human use. This is 34,000 veterinary treatments, 15 peer-reviewed publications, scientific publications, and 20 years of both FDA and manufacturing experience. This is an example. This is Malibu. Malibu has really bad hip pain. Any of you have hip arthritis, you know what this feels like. The drugs don't work. The anti-inflammatories haven't worked. And this patient told their owner, the owner told their vet, and the vet treated with stem cells. This is Malibu after. So now Malibu can get around better. This is single injection into the hips. Now Malibu can run, the pain is reduced, and dogs are very honest. They don't lie. They are really telling you if you've had an improvement. And Malibu was able to use the banked stored stem cells for multiple years afterwards, I think almost out to 8 years, being able to get retreated when the pain returned. So this is real. This is what we're striving for. This is what we're bringing to human medicine. So we have two unique advantages. One we just talked about, the veterinary, 22 years experience in veterinary regenerative medicine, but really importantly, FDA accepts our veterinary data. They've already accepted us as data to allow us to go into human clinical trials. Also, we have this advanced FDA compliant manufacturing facility called GMP manufacturing, or good manufacturing practices, means we're compliant with the FDA, and we've got lots of proprietary media and techniques and really highly competitive cost in this market. Let's talk about what the market looks like. And this is just knees. Obviously, we have arthritis in our hips and our spine and other places, but I want to talk about just knees because that's our filing right now. 32 million adults in the US have knee arthritis. That's potentially a $400 billion market. If we only got a 0.5% of this market share in a year, that's $2 billion in revenue. This is a big market. So let's briefly talk about the FDA development timeline. So we have to go through FDA, but we've skipped over some of the early processes in the FDA pipeline because we completed them in VetStem. We did all the preclinical, we did the phase 1 study, which means a pure safety study, and we went directly into a phase 2A study, means real patients with real arthritis. We completed that study, submitted it to the FDA. We are now ready to move into a large phase 2B study, which is a large randomized placebo-controlled study. That's why we're raising money. That's going to cost between $2.5 and $5 million. Hopefully, we can submit that to the FDA by 2026, 2027 at the latest, and get FDA to look at an early approval process. If not, we'll have to do a phase 3 study, and that could be completed by 2028. And then we've got final submission and approval with FDA. Let's talk for a minute about our capital events. So we did a seed round of 1.5 million at a 4 million valuation. Those of you that invested in biotech realize this is unreasonably low amount of money, but it's because we had already spent the money in the veterinary business. We hit our first milestones, and then we had a non-dilutive license event where we could license some of this intellectual property. We got $3 million, hit additional milestones, and then we did a Series A for 3.5 million. That's 5 million total raised of dilutive capital, and that's just, again, unheard of to be able to be in phase 2 studies. With the Series A money, we were able to hit our milestones for a COVID study, for which we licensed out, and then we launched our StemInsure banking program that we already talked about. So the Series B capital raise that we're talking about now, that's money that will carry us through 2026. It's a $10 million raise that gets us the money for the clinical trial, 2.5 to 5 million, and then the supportive data or supportive activities around that. It's a $50 million pre-money valuation. This is very low in the biopharma business, and we've already raised 2.5 million from existing investors for that. Again, the purpose is for this phase 2B large pivotal knee arthritis study. And this gets us to a key valuation inflection point where we could look at partnerships and other raises. The team is really experienced. We all have 20 to 30 years experience around this area of regenerative medicine and developing products. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had 3 exits that I'll talk about. Chris Rogers is our medical director. He's double boarded in orthopedics and is very experienced in regenerative medicine. Stephen Keen is our chief business officer, 25 years in the biotech community, and has raised nearly $1 billion in capital for these companies. And Corbin May, last but not least, is the director of sales, marketing, and client experience. He's launching our revenue generating cell banking business. These are my 3 exits. Just briefly, my first big company was HTI Bioservices, provided technical services to big pharma companies. We sold that for $5 million. 0 investment capital was taken in, but we sold it for 5x net revenue. Our diagnostic company, HTI Bioproducts, was sold for $10 million, a 15x return for our investors. And the last one that I did in 2021, VetStem Biopharma, sold to a big PE company at 7x return on investment for $50 million in cash. We've got a very experienced board of advisors, serial entrepreneurs, veterinarians, MDs, and very experienced orthopedic surgeons that are helping us make sure we do all our FDA studies properly. We've got great IP counsel. So this is health, but differently. Using this veterinary data is very unique. This also means this is your DNA, your cells, your health. Thank you for listening, and really will enjoy any conversations about our company, our people, and our technology. Thanks.